The year a dozen of eggs was only $1.68. You see, the prices have changed in a way that is illogical if you look through the lens of inflation. The Big Mac has only gone up 50%, which is part of the lie they have sold to you. The corporate-made smokescreen in front of your eyes is a cherry-picked selection of data only starting at 2019 covering the most expensive menu item, trying to get you to avert your eyes from the fact that items real customers like me and you got for the value, like the McChicken, has gone up 199%. This is more than a case of corporate greed. See, in 2016, they started a plan. Chains across the country started selling off company locations to franchisees, essentially moving the capital risk to small business owners, leaving the food service industry and essentially becoming real estate agencies. This began a transition from human interaction to kiosks and apps, offering deals to bring down prices so they could lay the groundwork for harvesting your data, later offering coupons for prices that you were already paying in store just a few years ago. This shift started an epidemic. Grocery stores started a shift towards loyalty cards and cameras. 2016 saw the early and rapid adoption of digital tracking, using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth cameras as beacons, allowing retailers to map your movements down to the second, tracking who you are, what your income is, how much you are willing to pay, so they could use that data to move into phase 2. But before we get into phase 2, it's very important you know the company behind this all. It's a company called Fusion, originally called Store Electronic Systems. They were founded in 1992. SES was obsessed with efficiency. They pioneered an LCD tag that could replace paper. The goal was to cut cost on labor. A store manager could change the price of a shelf tag without paying workers to change them out. But this evolved from a way to lower wages and fire workers. In the early 2000s and finalizing in 2016, they developed a way for the tags to send data back to the store. This enabled the start of the price gouging. Combined with the tracking and surveillance that ramped up that year, they were able to nickel and dime every purchase individually. They just needed a way to roll it out without you noticing.
It's hard to imagine this is how 2020 started, but across the world, dozens were falling ill with a mysterious virus that would ultimately change life as we know it.
I have today declared that the coronavirus presents a public health emergency in the United States.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States.
In late March, Congress signs off on a massive $2 trillion stimulus bill as New York emerges as the global epicenter of the outbreak.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. A quote often misattributed to Winston Churchill in the form of never let a good tragedy go to waste. In this case, the misquote is more applicable. The pandemic was disastrous for the economy. Massive shutdowns led to millions of restaurants going out of business. The government was printing heaps of money, which led to a catastrophic rate of inflation. Inflation made everything more expensive. The cost to source raw ingredients skyrocketed, which is the reason that is often given for the increase in food prices. But looking into the data paints a different picture. While everyone had their backs turned, focusing on the pandemic, focusing on inflation, trying to fend for their lives, these companies were at the ready to weaponize the technology they had been developing for years. With everything moving online, companies had access to even more data than before. Data they could use not only online, but in the store itself.
We view a little bit of inflation as always good in our business.
That is a call with one of the most powerful CEOs in the country, a company evaluated at $50 billion. That company is Kroger, admitted on the record that inflation is good for business. That, along with many other quotes from CEOs and CFOs I will be playing, should give you a great idea of the picture here. But if writing off catastrophic economic events, the people be damned, isn't enough for you, let's talk about the collusion. There's two types of collusion in this industry. There's indirect collusion and direct collusion. These companies are having backroom deals to make sure everyone wins except for the consumer. But it runs deeper than just that. What they figured out by using algorithms to change prices in 2020 is that people will pay more for goods.
And we know if we need to take more pricing, we have room to do it. To date, we've seen no resistance from our customers.
Their goal was to find the highest possible price you would pay for an item and then raise it a little bit higher year after year.
I'm really pleased our sales teams have gotten much better at pricing than ever in the history of the company. We're we're not going to be giving this pricing back. Now it's not a matter of can we take a price increase, now it's about how much of a price increase are you going to take.
What started happening in the market was Walmart would see Kroger charging $3 for a carton of eggs. Then Walmart would go to $3.10, the exact opposite of what the free market is supposed to do. The game changed. They were turning your shopping experience into a casino. That's why they so heavily integrated apps and points. It's the same way a casino makes you play for chips. The fake perceived value of getting extra points that will never make up the difference for the cost they are making you pay.
We want to make sure that we're not leaving any pricing on the table. We'll take as much pricing as the consumer can absorb.
That is the indirect collusion, but it doesn't stop there. These companies were directly pulling prices from the same AI companies using the same algorithms that completely snubbed out any competition in the market. Vusion isn't the only villain here. Revionics is an AI pricing model that dynamically changes prices based on not just demand, but how much they can squeeze out of the customer at any given time. Kroger, Albertsons, Save Mart, Lucky, all using the same algorithm to get the same prices. They aren't even hiding it anymore. By using this third party, they have completely gotten away with conspiring against you. What is the government doing about this? Well, the USDA hands out millions in process and technology improvement grants. While these are branded as modernizing SNAP, the money often goes towards integrating state benefits into the private apps of major grocers. The government is essentially paying to bridge between your public benefits and the retailer's private data tracking app. In 2025, the USDA allocated $5 million for these grants. This encourages retailers to force low-income shoppers into their digital ecosystems, effectively subsidizing the grocery store's digital casino, where the product is your livelihood and well-being. Not only that, but in February of 2026, the Department of Defense awarded IBM a $112 million contract to install electronic shelf labels across 177 US military commissaries, effectively pushing the same predatory pricing scheme onto the US Army. So taxpayers are essentially seed money that is essentially being used to develop the next generation of pricing algorithms that will eventually be sold to Kroger and Walmart to find exactly how much more you can be charged for a carton of eggs. Oh, and fuck you, Nat.